Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom,
Shalom.
shalom.
All right, brother, you can start your screen share whenever you get a chance.
Con. Let me share this. Salaki, 1 second. Con, can I be heard?
Con, for sure.
Con, all praises. I'm gonna share my screen.
Saying it on my social media real quick.
All praises. Con, and when you get a chance, can you add my screen share to the show or to the stream?
Con,
Con, all
there we
praises.
go. All
All
praise.
praises. Con. So starting off, first and foremost, I'll start by giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, whose true name is Yahweh, and I'll do so in the name of His beloved Son, Mashiach Yahushua. Now, the lesson for today is going to be another biblical Hebrew lesson. This is 3.5. We did lesson 3 about 2 weeks ago, and so we're just going to go over a few of the points we went into the last time. But there's going to be a later slide that contains, the previous lessons that we did, plus the other ones are uploaded on the channel. So without anything further, I'm going to continue on. So tonight, I prepared a table of contents. So we're going to start it off with the intro, which is going to be the slide after. Then we're going to go into the portion that goes into letter comparisons, and then letters, vocabulary, and sentences, reading, translating, word of the day, what's next, and then references. Let's start with the intro. Brother, could you read that?
Con. Intro. The last class, we learned the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, which included their meanings, sound, and letter form. For a reference, click this link below to be taken to lesson 3. Today, we'll be going into being able to read the letters based on the sound and form of the letter, and later we'll read some of the Hebrew text, and then we will work on translating it.
So as the slide said, this is basically an outline of what, or a part of the outline of what we're going to go into tonight. So we're going to start with some letter comparisons, and then we're going to look at certain letters that, look similar to one another, so we can better, be better acquainted with the letter forms of the Hebrew alphabet. All right, so let's start with that. So if you could, brother, could you read that?
Letter comparisons. There are a few Hebrew letters that are similar in form, meaning they appear to look the same. And mastering the difference between these letters will stand in between you being able to read the language or you being confounded when you look at the text. In the following slide, we will look over the letter form and corresponding sound to familiarize ourselves. I will highlight the sounds, red and blue, to show the two letters that look similar in each case.
So within the next slide, it's going to touch on each of the letters that look similar in form, and the red is going to be the first letter, and the blue is going to be the second or third letter in some cases, because there are a few letters that look similar to one another. So it'll be very pivotal for you to be familiar with these letter comparisons. So when you're reading the text, you're not mistaking, a kaf for a ba or a bayath. All right. So let's continue on. So we can see here we have the kaf or the ka in red, and then the bayath or the ba in blue, and we see right here, you don't see the similarity as much, but when you look at how the Hebrew text is written within the scriptures, like if you go to a blue letter or if you go to a Bible Hub or any other platform that shows the Hebrew text, they will look the same. So it'll be very good to make sure you acquaint yourself with these letter comparisons and to make sure that you're able to tell the difference between each one. Let me go to the next slide. And so here are some other ones. We have the wa and the za, and then the wa and the ending na. The wa and the ending na, it's a little bit easier to tell them apart with, based on how it's scribed or based on how it's written. But in cases like this, like if you're using like a mobile phone or a laptop or something like that, they're really similar in look. Now, a trick you could use is the ending na. It'll be a lot longer than the wa, but they're basically pretty much the same shape and everything. But again, if you familiarize yourself with these the similarities between each letter, it'll be a lot easier for you to read the language. There's another page full, and again, I'm gonna drop this link. I'm gonna drop this link in the comments most likely, or I'll send it to the brother, and he might be able to place it within the description, so brothers and sisters can click on this link. Most High willing, but we can go to the next slide. You can read that if you can, Baba Kasha.
Khan. Letters, vocabulary, and sentences. Let's go into the letters and let's start with alap, the first letter of the alphabet, or alap bayath, is alap. Pronounce alap. This letter in pictographic form is an oxen head, which is supposed to represent strength, might, and also a leader or chief, or a verb meaning to learn or teach. Next is the letter bayath, pronounced bayath. This letter in pictographic form is a tent or house, which represents a place where one dwells, and also a family. Abba, which means father or chief, and ba, which means to come or to go, which means father came or father went.
God. So what we have at the bottom, the last 2 points are we have Abba, which usually is translated to father or chief, but most of the time it's translated to the word father. And then we have the next word, which is Ba'a, which means to come or to go. Usually it's translated as come or came or something like that. But right here we have a sentence utilizing these characters, the alap bayath. We have a sentence that reads Abba Bayah, which means father came or father went. A simple sentence, but being able to, just play around with the letters and just, of course, grammatically, being grammatically correct, but being able to place the letters in certain places and being able to read, and practicing these things are gonna help you a lot with being able to read the actual Hebrew text. Let's continue on. Could you read the next one?
Khan. Letters, vocabulary, and sentences. Next letter is the ma'am, pronounced ma'am. The picto form is a set of waves of water. It carries the meaning of sea or might, mighty, and massive. Also, in certain cases, the ma'am, at the end of a word in compound cases pluralizes a word. Next letter is ya. The picto form is an arm and hand, and the meaning is to work, make, or throw. And these are the functions of an arm and hand. Maya, am. Maya, ba, which means who came or went. Abaya ba, meaning my father came or went.
Con. So this is basically the same setup as the previous slide, just utilizing these two letters, which would be the mom and then the yod. And then the example of the sentence we have here is Maya ba'a, which means who came or who went. The next one is Abaya ba'a, which means which means my father came or went. So again, just another example of utilizing just a few simple letters comboed or combined and forming a sentence. Let's move on to the next one.
More letters, vocabulary, and sentences. Next letter is Nam, pronounced Na'an. The picto form is a seed sprout, and it represents a continuation of a new generation. Letter is Ha, pronounced Ha-ah. The letter in pictographic form is a man standing with his arms out, and the word means to behold, but can also mean to breathe or sigh, as expressions toward a great sight. Aya, which means where. Ban, which means son. Anya, which means indicates I as in I am. Haya, which means she. Ba, which means came. Nabaya, which means prophet. Ma, which means what.
Khan. So this is another slide and another example of the previous few that are utilizing the letters that we've, now picked up and learned, and now we're able to lengthen or enlarge our vocabulary, so to speak. And so the first word is ayah, which as the slide says, it just means where. The next word is ban, which typically is translated to son, sometimes child. Then we have anya, which means I, but it indicates, an I as an I am. And then we have haya'ah, which means she, and then ba'a, which means came, and then nabaya'ah, which means prophet, and then ma, which means what. It seems simple enough, but the more you're repetitive with, with the practice of going over just the letters and then the words, you'll reading the text, the Hebrew text is gonna come very easily for you. But let's move on to the next one.
More letters, vocabulary, and sentences. Maya, Haya, which means who is, she. Banya, Ba. It's like it. Banya Ba, which means my son came. Anya, Abba, which means I am a father. Aya, Abaya, which means where is my father. Ma, Nabaya, which means what is a prophet. Hana, Baya, Ba, which means the prophet came. Note, in the respective bullet points that contain the word is or am, that they are in brackets. This is because in Hebrew, these phrases don't exist, referring to am, is, are, etc. So for this reason, we have to add these in English to make sense grammatically speaking. Also note that English indefinite articles like a and an and don't exist in the Hebrew. Also, keep in mind that in bullet 6, it starts with the ha, which means he as a prefix, hence the prophet, or the as the prefix, Salakia.
Got no sweat. So, these are just more words, and to add to our vocabulary. Just short sentences, but just to kind of point out some of the notes I placed at the bottom. Um, and this is also good to know within like your Bible studies as you're studying the Hebrew text. You'll see certain words are in brackets or or italicized, or things of that sort. Um, that's it's speaking for the KJV. The reason for that is because those words aren't actually in the text. So when you look at certain texts, and it'll put like, for instance, like in number 4, it said, "Where is my father?" Um, the word is not going to be within the text, because it's not a concrete word for the word is. So that word is going to have to be added, or else the plain reading of the text is going to be, "Where my father," which we all would know that isn't proper grammar, so to speak. But it would make sense to place in the addition of "Where is my father" to understand. You still get the same sense, but it makes a lot more sense. But um I think everything else is relatively simple. And make a quick point. Speaking to indefinite articles, um within the Hebrew language, we don't see indefinite articles as as in give me a car. Like, you don't really see the just a used like that, an indefinite article, such as a. And then the same thing with an. But it's it's what you would call implied when you look at the Hebrew text in and of itself, because the Hebrew text is very simple. So, example, when you look at number 1, it says, "Who she." Now, it's just straight to the point. But in English, we would say, "Who is she?" But just to kind of give a little bit of clarification, but it should be simple. We can move to the next one. And so for this one, this is just going back to the chart. I think I brought this chart out a few classes ago, but I have all of the previous slides, or the previous slideshows in a later slide. And again, this will be out there for any and everyone to utilize. But this is just showing the middle Shemitic script here at the top, and then the corresponding sounds to each letter form. And then at the bottom, we have what we would see in the biblical text today. So that's simple enough. So now let's go to the next one. If you could you read this?
The text we will read is Numbers 6:24. Below, I will include the English text and Hebrew text. I will also place the transliteration as well. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. Yabaraka Yahweh Waya Shamar Ka.
Khan. So this text, this is a relatively familiar text. within Numbers 6:24. Um, and it reads the Lord bless thee and keep thee, or Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. And the text is, of course, keep in mind that Hebrew text is read from left to right. So it's like it from right to left. So with that being the case, let's scroll over here to the highlighted portion, and we see the first word is Yabaraka, the root being Barak. The next word is Yahweh, which is a proper name. That's the Most High's proper name. And then we have Wayashamarka. We're going to tackle these words in the next few slides, but, just to make sure we get it read cleanly and clearly, I'm going to read it one more time, then we can move on. It reads, Yabaraka, Yahweh, Wayashamarka. So let's move on to the next one. If you could you read that?
Below we have the verse highlighted. The first word is Barak, which is in the third person singular masculine verb in this verse. So in this verse, we see the Yah as a prefix, which indicates he. So Yah equals he, Barak equals bless. And at the end, there is an ending, ka, which indicates you as a suffix. So it is, he bless you.
Khan. So as you could read here in the text, and this kaf and da, that isn't part of the actual text. That's just in addition to the Aleppo Codex. But what's highlighted here is the actual text. So when we look at this first word is Barak. You see the ba, the ra, and then the ka. So that's the actual verb or the word that's there. And then what's added to it is the ya as a prefix, and then the ka as a suffix. As the slide explained, ya as a prefix typically will denote he. And then at the end, we have the ending ka, which typically denotes you, when it's used as a suffix. So what we have here, just the first part of this verse, is he bless you. So now let's move on to the next part of the verse. If you could you read that?
Khan. Translation. Next we have Yahweh, and he is the subject of the previous verb that we highlighted last, which was, again, this reads, he bless you. Now we learn who the he is in the next part of the verse. The he is, so that's why the verse says in the beginning, the Lord or Yahweh bless you, because the verb comes before the subject, and the case of the verb tells us about the subject that is proceeding after. Keep in mind that the Hebrew language, grammatically speaking, is verb subject in sentence structure.
Khan. So when you look here at the top, we already covered the first word, which is Yabaraka, and the root was Barak. Now the next word in the verse is the Most High's name, which is Yahweh. This is also referred to as the Tetragrammaton, which when you go into, I believe that goes back to a Greek word, which I think means 4 letters, just shooting off the hip. But next, when we look at this, the next part of the verse is telling you who that he was in the previous part, because it said Yabaraka, he bless you. Now we learn who the he is, in the next part of the verse, which is right here, which is Yahweh. So he bless you. Well, who bless you? It's Yahweh that blesses you, right? So Yahweh is the one that's, being said, hey, bless you. because it's an adjusive case, and we're gonna get to that later. But adjusive cases, which you would refer to as commanding language. So Yahweh bless you, Yahweh keep you. But that's gonna be for a later lesson, But for right now, this next word right here is the proper name of Yahweh. And just to keep in mind, something that's important to remember within the Hebrew language is that it's verb subject, structure wise. So when you read in the Hebrew, it's not going to read as, he ran. It'll read more like ran did he. So it'll show the verb first, and then the subject next. The subject being he. In that case, or we could be more specific. We could say ran did Caleb. Caleb would be the subject, and ran would be the verb. But the verb would typically it occurs first and then the subject after. So, and it's the same thing with this particular verse. But let's continue on. All right, could you read that?
Translating. Lastly, we have the word shamar, which is in third person singular, masculine form, and also is prefixed by the wa, which is a conjunction here, which means and. So we have so far, and he keep. We've learned that means and the word means to keep. And at the end, there's the final / ending, ka, which means you. So in all, we have and he keep you.
So I'll read the whole verse out right here. It says Ya Baraka Yahweh Wa Yashamarka. Wa Yashamarka is highlighted here. And so when we continue to observe what's in the slide, Shamar is the root of this particular phrase or word right here. So Shamar just means to keep. So you look at the beginning of this particular phrase, we see the wa, which right here is a conjunction. So it would be and. So it would be and it's going to be translated as and 8 times out of 10. But wa is just some type of conjunction, so it could be and, but, etc. But we see here the wa at the beginning, so it's and then we see the ya, which would be he again. So and he, and the next part is the root shamar, which means to keep. So and he keep, and then we have the ending ka, which is you, which would be used to denote you right here, because it's an ending ka as a suffix, added on to the root. So it would be and he keep you, wa yashamarka. Again, hopefully it's simple enough, but the more you look over these things, the more you practice. I can't stress that enough, but practice reading the text, practice looking over, at the letter comparisons and things of those sorts, the charts, reading the Hebrew text, it gets a lot easier. Let's move on to the next slide.
Word of the day. The word for today is abad, and the letters of this word include alap, bayaf, and dalaf. These letters make the ba, and da sounds. So again, this word is abad, and this word translates to perish or destroy in the English, and the definition is to be separated from the whole life or functionality. Let's read in the Bible where this used as both destroy and perish. Psalm 5 and 6. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. Yahweh will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. The word destroy here is abad. Psalm 10 and 16. Yahweh is king forever and ever. The heathen are perished out of his land.
Con, and in Psalm 10 and 16, the word perish there is abad. So what I'm going to start doing moving forward is we're going to go into a word for the day, and we'll touch on the word a little bit, but the word for today is abad, which means to destroy or to perish. And a deeper definition, as was read, is to be separated from the whole, life, or functionality. So that's the word for today. And if you could you read this line?
What's next? Next, we will go into counting of numbers and learning more letters and vocabulary. Below, I will place the previous lessons that include lesson 1, 2, and 3.
Con, and below those are Google Docs for the previous lessons that we went into thus far. But that is everything for tonight. These are the references. Learn to Read Biblical Hebrew by Jeff Benner. It's a pretty good read. And then Ancient Hebrew Dictionary, 1,000 Verbs and Nouns of the Hebrew Bible by Jeff Benner. This is a good and informational book as well, I'll say. But yeah, that's everything for tonight, and I'm gonna pass it back to the brother Hurt. See if he has any words.
Good lesson, brother. The water for the time put in to bring that to us, and the water to everybody in the chat. Y'all the comments, the likes, and we looking forward to this new journey. All praise to the Most High.
God, great lesson out.
All praise to the Most High. God, and if that'll be everything, I'm gonna close it out with number 6. It's number 6. It says, Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. And with that, I'm gonna say shalom.
Shalom, family.
Shalom, family.
Shalom.